So things may look familiar, yet different at the same time. I moved into a new apartment and I decided to bring my studio with me. I wanted to make sure it kept the same vibe as the old studio, and I'll have a full video coming out soon when the space is complete. But since I have been so busy moving, I have not had a whole lot of time to go out and shoot, whether that's photos or video, so I thought right now would be the perfect time to do an updated what's in my camera bag video. Everything that I'm about to show you is what I am currently using, and I plan on using for the rest of this year, and you will see that in upcoming photo walk videos as well. Before we dive in and talk about what's in the camera bag, I want to talk about the actual camera bag itself. Now, this is the Clever Supply Co. Sling. I've been using this bag for over a year now, and it's safe to say I absolutely love it. I believe it is a 6-liter bag, so it is quite small, but you would be surprised just how much you can actually hold in this bag. And I decided to go with the tan version mainly because I'm a big fan of the dark tan canvas and the brown leather accents. I just think it looks so good. Not to mention this bag is very comfortable to wear over your shoulder or on your back for pretty much an entire day. I've never had any problems with this camera bag, and the shoulder strap is very comfortable. All of which is very important for a camera bag. And like I said, it does hold quite a lot, so let's start off with the camera I am currently using, which is the Sony A7CR with the 35mm 1.8. The 35mm 1.8 stays on my camera by default pretty much all of the time. I've made many videos about this lens exactly and why I love the 35mm 1.8 so much. It's also one of the reasons I chose this lens over the 35 1.4G Master, and that is the fact that I can actually fit it in this camera bag along with the other lenses I am carrying as well. So that was a huge deciding factor for me that I don't think I've actually mentioned before. But as well as this lens, I also have the Clever Supply Co. Sling as well. I believe this Sling is the 36-inch version, and I believe it's the perfect length, especially combined with the small rig silver base plate. It allows me to attach it to the side, and I can just throw the camera over my shoulder and shoot like this rather than having it around my neck. And the reason I don't like having the Sling attached to both sides of the camera, and I like having them both on the same side, is because with the rangefinder style viewfinder of the Sony A7C, so it's offset, it's off to the side. When you have the Sling attached to the side of the camera and it is so close to the viewfinder, I found that there were a lot of times where the Sling actually obstructed me from actually being able to use the viewfinder. So moving on from my primary setup, my second most used lens has got to be my 20mm 1.8. Now, if you've seen my previous What's in My Camera Bag video, you will know that I was using the 24mm 2.8G lens. And I think one of the main reasons I held on to that lens for so long is probably the compact size. The reason I care so much about the compact size is because using it on the Sony A7CR, it is a smaller camera body, and I just like keeping my camera setup as compact as I possibly can. But I found that it was actually working against me because I didn't really want to use the 24mm 2.8 as often as I actually wanted to use the 20mm 1.8. And moving on from the 20mm 1.8, I have probably the least used lens that I carry in my camera bag, and that is the 50mm 2.5. Now, I do really love this lens, and you'll see I have this vintage styled lens hood that kind of has a Leica or just film camera aesthetic to it, and it's really nice. It looks great when combined with the Sony A7CR. I don't use this lens nearly enough, but I like to keep it in my camera bag because it's great for capturing details, because the 35 and the 20mm lenses are both great at capturing the wide shots, or the hero shots as I like to call my images. But the 50mm is great for details. Way back, I used to carry the 20mm, the 35mm, and the 85mm. But I found the 85mm, I just do not like that focal length whatsoever for anything besides portraits. So I stopped carrying that lens pretty much as soon as I quit shooting portraits for the most part. and I found that the 50 millimeters is probably that perfect in between the 35 and 80 millimeter focal length. So I definitely used this lens more than I used the 85 millimeter lens, but I don't use this lens nearly enough. I definitely need to get out and use this more. And that is all the lenses I currently carry in my camera bag. I find it to be the perfect trio of lenses because you have the 20 millimeter focal length for that ultra wide look, especially when I need a little bit more space or I can't get back far enough to take a photo of something. And then I have the 35 millimeter focal length, which is the perfect everyday carry focal length in my opinion. And then I have the 50 millimeter focal length, which doesn't feel too terribly different from a 35, but it does allow for a little bit more compression. And like I mentioned, it helps get some of those detail-oriented shots. All right, and outside of that, let's talk about what else I carry in my camera bag. And here in the front pouch, I have 3 lens filters as well. I have the Moment anti-glare, it's a polarizing filter for the 20 millimeter lens, so it is a 67 millimeter filter thread. And then I have 2 filters for my 35 millimeter lens, one of those being a polarizer and the other one being a glimmer glass filter. I also have a filter thread adapter, so I can adapt these to my 50 millimeter lens as well if I ever wish to. All right, outside of that, I carry 1 extra battery in my camera bag. The battery on the A7CR lasts more than long enough. Usually it lasts me a full day, but just in case it doesn't, I do carry 1 extra battery with me. I found that carrying more than 1 extra battery has never really been necessary for me personally. Then the next item, which is also very important to the Sony A7CR, and if you don't own one of these and you own whether it's the original A7C or the A7C2 or the A7CR, it's definitely this eye cup piece. It is probably the most important accessory you can actually buy for this camera, since the A7C cameras do not have an eye cup attached to the viewfinder, which I don't know why Sony does not include one of those. The only downside to this eye cup is it does occupy your hot shoe. So say if you wanted to use the eye cup along with a trigger for an off-camera flash, that's not really an option. All right, one of my favorite unique features about this camera bag is the clever, no pun intended, design of how you can store SD cards in this bag. Rather than having to carry a separate carrier or some kind of container for your SD cards, built into the dividers on this camera bag, there are little slots where you can put your SD cards. As you can see, I carry 1 extra card with me, and that is a ProGrade 64 gigabyte V90 card. All right, and moving on from that, we are down to the final 2 things that I carry in my camera bag. And to some, these might be the least interesting things, but hear me out and stick around. I think they could be 2 of the most important things that you carry in your camera bag, besides your actual camera. And the first of these items is my field notes book and my pen. In this book, I write down any ideas I might have for YouTube videos or potential places I might want to go and take photos. I prefer having something physical and actually writing it down rather than just using the notes app in my phone. I don't like being so tied to technology all of the time, so I just like having something physical where I can write down my thoughts and any notes and ideas that I have. And the next thing, which also ties into what I just said, is also field notes, and that is my planner. Like I mentioned with the notebook, not being so tied to technology and using a planner app on my phone, it's just nice being able to physically write down my to-do list and whatever I need to do on any given day or that week. Not to mention the fact that I pretty much always have my camera bag with me, so not only do I have my camera on me at all times, I also have my planner and my notebook as well. So this is pretty much it for my camera bag. As you can tell, I like to keep things fairly minimalist. I don't like to carry more than I think is necessary. And the reason I like to use these small compact prime lenses is not just because of the small compact nature of the camera itself, but it allows me to carry more in the camera bag. So I could carry even more lenses in my camera bag if I really wanted to, but to be fair, I don't really want to. But you'll also notice that I don't really use zoom lenses. Now, I have talked about this in previous videos on my channel, but if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I'm just personally not a fan of zoom lenses. I like to stick to zoom lenses for filming video rather than photo, and this is just my photo camera bag. Now, I don't want to get too off topic. If you guys want to know more about why I don't like using zoom lenses, I have multiple videos on my channel that you can go and check out. So thanks for hanging around and watching this video, guys. If you have any questions about whether it's the camera, the lenses I use, or the camera bag itself, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as fast as I possibly can. And I would also like to mention that not all of my videos are just me talking about camera gear. I have plenty of videos on my channel where I'm actually putting this stuff to use and actually out in the field taking photos. So if you have the time, please go check out those videos on my channel. They are my absolute favorites to make and I would greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to help support me. And I hope I could inspire you guys to get out and take more photos. Go out and shoot.